Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow, and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Today I've returned to the Colne Valley Railway to see this thing, the locomotive that you guys helped purchase to stop it from being scrapped, making you guys one of the best communities in the entirety of YouTube. The big question though is, just what have we actually bought? This was advertised as not working, so what have I done? So quickly, we're going to go back to basics. This is a Ruston 165, which is part of the trilogy of the 48, like Sir William, the 88, like Ollie's own locomotive further down the line, and then the 165 being the granddaddy. Now, they did make some bigger versions and other things, but we're just going to concentrate on these three being the best known of the Ruston models. This thing weighs 28 tonnes and it's powered by Ruston's own engine, which generates 165 horsepower. Well, okay, actually it doesn't. The diesel-electric version of this generates 165 horsepower, hence the name. This one generates slightly less. It is a mechanical driven locomotive. It has a 4-speed gearbox. And on that gearbox, it has something called start. Now, for those of you who drive a car, you'll know that if you just take your foot off the clutch pedal, the car will lurch suddenly forward into drive. With this thing, if you just drop it straight into first, it will lurch suddenly forward into drive. And when you're moving a train of loose coupled wagons or even passengers, if one lurches suddenly forward, you will either snatch all the couplings and potentially damage something, or you'll knock your passengers over, and generally that's frowned upon. The start gear on this is designed to allow first gear to slip. So you can keep your brake on, put it into drive, slowly release the brake, and slowly pull away. It's a very clever thing. And it's this start gear that we suspect is the root cause of the air leak on the gearbox. Now, there were a number of other air leaks around on this locomotive, but the owner has now gone around and sorted those. So today we can fire the machine up, go through everything, give it a good oil up, build up full air pressure, double check that it is indeed that start gear, but then hopefully take this thing out for a test and find out if you've helped me buy, with a frankly obscene amount of money, a fully working locomotive or a really nice decorative ornament. But now, because so many of you have joined in and helped support this, there's a real possibility that I'm going to have a load of egg on my face. So with that, it's time to go through the prep and get this thing fired up so we can take it out.
But before we could go trackside and get on with the prep, we had to wait for the DMU to stop operating the public services. And once the railway was closed and we were told it was safe to be lineside, we began our inspection. First up, we looked at the coupling rods that still had some oil in them, and the trimmings didn't look in too bad a condition, so they would do for today's running, and I went around topping them all up, some with more success than others.
Oh no, that was a terrible miss. Oh no.
Next up was to fill up the axle box lubricators, and I know that the oil in there looks a bit manky, and I stress these will be cleaned out before the thing goes into traffic properly, but for today it would just meant that there would be some oil inside it. Next up was to fire up the donkey engine, and that meant giving it some fresh fuel.
Oh, this is stupid. How? I didn't spill any of it, and I'm as amazed as you are.
The next stage was to turn the fuel on, go into the donkey engine, check the oil, and then fire it into life.
That made all the difference.
And with the successful start, the donkey engine sprung to life, generating the air that we would need to start the engine. And as it was doing its job compressing air, there was not much to do but sit and wait. And to pass the time, we set about tightening up a couple of the fittings that we knew were suspect the last time we fired up the loco. As more air was forced into the air tank, the donkey engine got slower and slower until...
Oh, we're full of air because it stopped. So we shut this. Now, this valve is cool. This goes to the pump. So this brings the coolant from the engine to the pump, which then goes back to the engine, which preheats the engine. So we turn this off now and that isolates the system, but the engine's now been preheated.
Having returned to the cab and lifted the floor, we could check the gearbox oil level, and this turned out to be absolutely fine. So that meant it was time to use the manual pump to build oil pressure in the engine, and we could get ready to start.
Cool.
With the engine started, there was more waiting around as the compressor charged up the air brakes. We checked both air tanks to make sure there was no moisture, and being pretty satisfied, it was time to go out for a run. And if it moved, this would be the first time this millennium that that this locomotive had moved under its own power. So this was the big moment. Would the Ruston's gearbox actually take drive, or was it just a paperweight?
Drop the revs. No chocks or anything. It's a working loco!
This was glorious, but would it stop? Having confirmed that we did indeed have working brakes, it was time to head up the line and see what it would do.
We have seconds. It's grab third.
That I was ecstatic would have been a dramatic understatement. This was absolutely beyond anything else. It works. I just need to remind you that if this hadn't been sold, it was going for scrap.
Absolute beautiful machine. Handbrake, please. I'm going to get a picture.
Now, to our knowledge, this is the furthest along the Cone Valley that 281-266 has ever managed to get. And seeing it basking in the evening sun was symbolic of the start of its new chapter. And of course, all that remained to do was to take it back to its siding.
As days go, today was a good day. 281-266 is a working locomotive. We have drive, we have brakes, we still have some air leaks which I need to address, but they are some. It works. Thank you all so very much. Because of you guys and the money that you guys have donated towards this functional working locomotive, its story will continue. It's going to continue to be in the public eye, continue to pull trains, and continue to make people happy for years to come. Thanks to you guys, its story hasn't ended and it's not gone to scrap. And what a travesty that would have been, to send something that worked. Not even something that was broken, that was life expired, that was over, but something that works. Something that actually just needed a little bit of love to make it work again. I am just, I'll be honest, Since this has all gone very well and the fundraiser has been incredible, there's been a lot of weight on my shoulders of it was an unknown. We didn't know that was the problem with the gearbox. We thought it was. We thought it would probably be okay. But to take it out and to run up the line on an incredible evening in the summer and to know that it's actually fine. Yes, it needs a service. Yes, we need to do lots of minor jobs, but it's fine. She's a working locomotive. So thank you all. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being part of this journey. And thank you for just being mad. It's absolutely brilliant. You guys are amazing. I'm so proud of the LMM community. I'm proud of the channel as a whole, but it's you guys that make it. And without you guys, there'd be no channel. So thank you all so much. Thank you for helping me do this. It's brilliant. So there'll be some more videos coming up as we do more with this. But for now, working on Locomotive and transport's been booked. She's coming home. So that's exciting. Yeah, thank you all guys. I'm just blown away. Absolutely blown away. There's some very exciting stuff coming up now and I can't wait to share it with you. But for now, it's not going to scrap. It works. It's a good day. It's a good day to be an enthusiast. It's a good day to be part of LMM. You guys are awesome. And of course, if any of you haven't joined the fundraiser yet and going, oh, I wish I had, it's still open. We are way over budget, and anything that doesn't get spent on doing this up and bringing it back into service will go onto the other Rustons to ensure that they get fixed. Now, I'll be honest, the fund for 303, by the time I sorted out the wheels, that was pretty low. So the money from this will help get 303 back and running again and get the trio operational. And that is frankly very exciting. So thank you all for this. Thank you all for making dreams come true. And be proud of yourselves, guys. Genuinely. That would have been a travesty if that had been cut up, because it's fine. It needs cosmetics. It needs a service and cosmetics and some air pipes being fixed. Well, tightened up and more PTF. It's just, I can't even comprehend how terrible it would have been to see that go. And with that, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for being part of this. You guys are amazing. Honestly, I think I'm going to go home and have a little cry. It's brilliant. Thank you all. If you have enjoyed this one, over there for the video where we had a walk around of the stuff for sale, everything is still for sale, although the Mark III, if nobody buys it soon, will probably be cut up on site. There is a plan to be able to remove it for less, but contact the railway if you want more information, or you want a Mark III sleeper. If not, it will disappear, which will be a shame, but that's the end of the world. There is an offer on Barrington, I believe, and the horse box is still available, but under no risk of being cut up. And with that, I'm going to go home. See you later, guys. Ciao, and thank you. Thank you again.